All right, officers and volunteer leaders, are we ready? Anyone have any delay? All right. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Thank you all for being here tonight on a yucky, chilly evening, but we're so glad to have you here with us. Let's open in a word of prayer, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the privilege it is to conduct your business for your church. I pray that you will bless us, and I pray that these proceedings will be to your honor and to your glory. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, so we're going to begin with some officer reports. We'll start with the secretary's report. I think was that sent out in the email already, Laura? Yeah, okay. Hopefully you had a chance to look at your email. If not, if you have access to your email through your devices, you can pull it up, but the secretary's report was sent out from the last business meeting. Does anyone have any corrections or changes to that? All right, seeing none, we will enter that. Secretary's report, thank you, Laura. And then, or clerk's report, I should say. And then treasurer's report. Dee, I know you were going to speak on this, so it's all yours.
It's not all mine, but it's okay. Good evening. So I have good news and good news and good news. I knew y'all would like that part. So on page 1 of the treasurer's report, this is kind of a summary. Right now, in cash and checking, we have $184,478. In reserve, we have $59,000. In the building fund, we have $198,000+. Before I forget, just so you know, that figure right now is at $8,395 because the stewardship committee chose to take $190,000.
Good evening, Olney Baptist Church
stick
family.
it in a CD
My name is Ronnie
for
White.
the next 15
I'm a
months
member
at
of Olney
almost
Baptist
5%.
Church.
Because sitting in the building fund, I was paying $5 a month for them to hold it, okay? So that'll show up in the April report, but because I did it so soon in January, I figured I'd go ahead and let you know. But anyway, we still have a reserve of, for campus repair of $3,372, which Alex is going to be using and updating some things in the building. And then we have a children's ministry coordinator of $10,465, which at the end of my report, I'll be making a motion about that money. So in the middle of that, you'll see the receipts and disbursements. This is normally the part that everybody wants to know. So our actual budgeted receipts received for 2022 totaled $409,362. Our budget amount is $396,119, so that gave us a surplus of $13,243. Cool, right? We met our budget. Isn't that awesome? So then we had interest income of $305, and if most of you don't know, GlowNet is still using our facility here. Usually at 2 o'clock, I think, on Sunday, they pay us a $300 a month rent. So that gave us $3,600. We only dispersed $342,806. So we have a net surplus of this year of $70,461. Part of that is, don't get too excited. Part of that is because, you know, we didn't have a youth and children's pastor for a while, and then we hired Seth for the summer, and then Alex came in August, September, somewhere in there. So that part of that is that, but even still, hey, I'm looking at it as a great thing. So our donations this year, Annie Armstrong, $290, Lottie Moon, $900, the building fund of $3240, benevolence of $125, and OBC missions of $450. So that's pretty good. If you look on the next page, that is your statement of financial position. That, again, shows all of our assets, all of our liabilities. On the next page, our statement of activity. So this is where our budget income, and then you see the total revenue. These are all the categories of expenditures. And then you'll see that that came to $342, which allows us our surplus of $70,461. I don't do pennies, so I round everything up. Everybody with me? Is that good? Any questions on that? So let me just say, too, there is a sheet in there. In fact, the next sheet is our budget versus our actuals. It has our actual amounts versus our budget, and then whether we're over or under budget. I will tell you, there are many people in this church who are responsible for these category items, and they take that very serious. I get many phone calls or emails or a text, bless you, sweetie, how much money is left in my ministry or whatever. So they're not out there just blowing money, they take it very serious, especially going through COVID, trying to get things in the right category and that kind of stuff. They actually do really, really well with that, and I appreciate that. So our stewardship went over. For many of you that don't know what that is, that would be, we pay for our app of PushPay, and we pay, I think, 2.5% of whatever we give through PushPay goes to the PushPay thing. So, of course, the more money we take in, the more expenditure we're going to have for stewardship. Plus, that also counts our $82 a month for our online QuickBooks, and then the program that Dinah uses for her giving and things like that she does. Any questions on any of those categories? I didn't really do a sheet as to why any of them are really over or under, because there was really nothing that stood out. I figured if anybody had a question, you could ask. I know the fellowship committee went over about $408, but we had a few funerals this year. So, when they call me and say fellowship's going to go over, I'm like, it's okay. And when we have a surplus like that, it's okay. Anybody have any questions on that? Okay. The other report that I sent in that's part of the business thing here, and I want to make sure I address it. It's in here. I didn't bring a copy. The pavilion report. Braden, sit down. Page 6? Oh, yeah, here it is. So our pavilion did not cost $150,000. Please, you can strike that out and enter the 80, I forget what it is now, 89,000 whatever, if you add that up or add those collections. We do have a zero amount left. We had great donations. The picnic tables were donated. Most of the electric was donated. Some of the media stuff was donated. So basically all we did was raise money for the pavilion itself. But it is taken care of and everything is paid for. It is down to zero. I agree. That's really good considering we still had a surplus this year, because honestly, what happens when you do those things is the giving goes down when people pledge to something special or something new. That did not happen. That's awesome. I'm really excited about that. So, anyone have any questions on anything? Yes? There's no dumb question. Actually, I'm not sure that figure is right. I'm going to have to go back and look at that now that you say that, because I thought we received $450 or something like that, Christmas Eve, through the offering. Huh? Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at it. I'm not sure why it says 150, 120. I know well, no. That's not part of that. So okay. Yes, that's on, if you go if you go to the statement of activity, you'll see that. So every month, our church tithes 10% of our income. So 5% goes to the Montgomery Baptist Association, 2.5% goes to BCMD for cooperative program, 2% goes to the deacons for benevolence fund, and then 0.5% goes to the missions, and we use that for that. So that's all I have for the treasurer's report. I would like to make a motion, though. Can I do that? Yeah. Okay. So on page 1, where we have cash coverage restricted for the Children's Ministries Coordinator of $10,465. Now that we have hired someone permanently, Alex, I'd like to make a motion that that money put back into the savings account. We don't need it in reserve right now. As well as the reserve that we have of $70,461. We don't need $184,000 in our checking account, so I'd like to make a motion that those two amounts totaling probably $80,000, almost $81,000, be sent back to or put in our our savings account where it will accrue interest. Our checking account does not get interest, and our building fund does not get interest. Okay. So if we're taking, we'll still have over $100,000 in our checking account, and even that's still a lot of money, I think, in a checking account. I don't really know how much we really need in there, but $100,000 in a checking account just gives me the willies. I think it needs to be put where it gets interest. I'm sorry, I don't like stale money. Yes.
What was the second one? So you said the 10,465.
The 10,465 Children's Ministry Coordinator and the surplus of 70,461. So that's 80,000, 81,000 that will go into the savings account, and it will grow there.
Is this a motion from the?
Stewardship, yes.
Okay,
I had talked to Donna. I don't know if I talked to, well, we've talked about it before, and we forgot about it last year. And then and just so you know, I do have a CPA auditor who audits my stuff for me every year, and her name is Elva Wood. So thank you, Elva. We really appreciate it. I'm going to send her something. Yes.
Question in a second.
Yeah.
It's a parliamentary thing here. If you could enter it into the record, Laura, the motion is made by the Stewardship Committee by the chairman and the treasurer. All right, go ahead.
I agree. Is there a reason why we're not moving more? Are there expenditures?
Nope. You can tell me what you want to do, and I'll do it. Well, with
That are going to come out that we need that much in the checking account?
no, I mean, we could probably keep a month, 40 to 50,000, which is a little bit more than a month's expenditures in there, and move another 50,000, which would mean we would move what, 50 and 81 is, what is that, 131? Yeah. Sure. We can move the 70,000, the 10,000, and an additional 50,000.
Is that in agreement with the stewardship?
Are you okay, Donna, with that? Erica?
Take that as a friendly amendment.
Yeah. Did you have another question, Jane? If we have to, we can move it back. Yeah, we're good.
It can be shifted back, right?
Yeah. It's just getting interest in that savings account. I mean, you know, when I took that, when I was in, I had to go into Sandy Spring for some reason, and they had a big old sign, 5%. I'm like, dude, how do I get that? So I did. Yes.
I'm a little confused. You're saying out of the 184,478, which is currently in the checking,
Yes.
you're going to remove 50,000 from that.
Yes. Yes.
Any other discussion on the motion? Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries. Okay.
I promise I'll leave him.
That's fine. All right, thank you. All right, if you could, is my clicker on again? So. All right, I want to go over my pastor's report. This is the annual pastor's report, so it's a little bit longer than my normal reports. I have it on PowerPoint, and Laura, I will give you the PowerPoint, so it'll help with that. And then as soon as I'm done, I'm going to turn it over to Alex, and he's going to talk about some stuff that we're doing, and then we're going to see if you have any questions on that, and then we're going to flow into the trustee report, and so we'll go from there. So And then after that, we'll open it up for other ministries that have reports tonight. All right, let me know when my clicker is enabled. Okay, all right.
Good evening,
See,
Olney Baptist Church family.
We will watch that shortly.
Good evening.
Down? Okay. Oh, sorry. This is why he doesn't trust me with the clicker. So he literally disabled my clicker a few minutes ago. Okay, all right. So, all right. Pat, here we go. Down arrow, got it. Okay. I want to open up by saying that if we were to look at the state of churches in general in the United States right now, these are kind of tough times for churches. There's all kinds of studies and surveys out there about this, but Christianity is in decline right now in America and in the West. Not worldwide, though, so don't be overall discouraged. It's just that the center of gravity for Christianity is shifting to Africa, and Latin America, and other parts of the world. But here in North America, Christianity is on the decline. Churches are closing rapidly. I mean, I read sad story after sad story, lots of churches closing. And our mission field here itself is pretty tough. I mean, 60% of the people in Olney, Maryland do not identify in any way as being religious. And that's 40%. 40% are religious, but that's all religious affiliations. Anyone want to take a guess how many identifies Baptist? It's less than 5%. So, all right, and so this is a tough mission field, okay? But God has been very good to us. God's been very good to our church, and God is blessing, and so I don't want us to be discouraged. I just want us to be sober-minded about it, you know. And it helps us to kind of set our expectations. At any point, Pentecost could break out, and praise the Lord if that happens. But at the same time, Noah preached for 120 years, and only his family converted. So, you know, we just have to kind of just let God give the increase as God does, okay? And so that's the standard. And our standard of success is that we be faithful. You know, are we being faithful? So I'm going to share with you some stats, but I just want to put these in context because, you know, it's easy when we start looking at stats. If you're a baseball fan in particular, you start comparing records and stuff like that, and we're not competing against anyone here. We just want to make sure we're staying faithful to the Lord. But since it is an annual report, I just want to give you a little bit of information on this. So again, thanks to all of our faithful members. And as I was just telling Alex a few minutes ago, I was looking around here. You all, those are here tonight, are our faithful members, you know. And we're looking around at the people that are go-to, people that attend faithfully, people that are there to volunteer, people that give financially. I know several people online also fit this description, but you're the faithful members. And I really wanted you to know from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate that very much. And I want to thank especially those that have really stepped up and volunteered and done a lot. Everything from, you know, the treasurer and the financial secretary to the trustees to AV, all, you know, just so many different ministry areas. But I want to highlight just three, not because they're better than anyone else, but just because of the unique circumstances of this past year. I want to thank our youth and children's volunteers because we went through staff turnover and transition this past year. Seth came in and helped us out for a brief time. We're very grateful for that. And now we have Alex, and we're very excited to have Alex on board. He's hit the ground running, so we're very happy about that. But it's been the parents and the volunteers in our kids' ministry and youth ministry that have kept those ministries going during this. And so I just want you to know I'm very grateful. I see you. I thank you for your hard work on that. And our personnel committee has also worked hard to fill these positions. They got Seth in there in the summer, and then they brought Alex in, and just how the personnel committee has been open and following the Lord and all this. I'm very grateful for them. And our COVID safety group for keeping us safe. Unfortunately, I can't say we've put COVID completely in the rearview mirror because it's still a factor. Our head trustee is home with COVID right now, so Rob's filling in on that report, and so it's it's still going around. My wife just got it; she's all good now, so you can hug her and talk to her. She's out of quarantine and everything. She's not contagious, at least not for COVID. Just kidding. So I can talk smack when I'm up here. So and then they got to go home. And then I want to also just thank our AV ministry. I just can't sing their praises enough for for getting us through this whole thing, and making it possible for our online participants tonight. And just so for the online folks, we've just had, and it's not because of our AV volunteers, but it's just the logistics and the equipment. It's been very difficult to get quality sound issues for hybrid Zoom meetings, so we weren't able to make that happen, but I'm glad you could join us on YouTube. But so again, all of our volunteers, I'm grateful to all of you. I just want to highlight those for this past year for their hard work. And I do want to thank our staff. We had, again, Seth was a huge blessing in the summer. I'm just for the record, want to thank Seth for his coming on board and doing such a great job for us. And he's getting ready to be a father, so pray for him and Ashika right now. And then I want to thank just the existing staff that we have right now. I don't want to take anything away from any other staff person we've had, but just in terms of chemistry and working together, this is the best staff I've worked with since I've been here. We have right now. We're very blessed to have the staff members that we have. So, just some stats here for you. We have 151 resident members right now. Resident member is the SBC way of saying people that are in this area that actually are within driving distance of our church. We do have 4 people who love our church so much that they don't want to let go of us, but they have moved out of the area. I'm not going to give their names, but some of them a couple of them and they're hanging on, clinging on, but and we love them, but they may not be with us at the end of the year. They probably will be united with another church. And we've got 9 new people join our church, 7 by being transferred in, and 2 by baptism. And so we're delighted in that. And we have more in our active fellowship. One of the things that seems to be changing in churches across the country here in America is people don't really like the formal church membership often. And so a lot of people just kind of come and they commit and they're part of the fellowship, but they never really want to formally join. And so the benefits of joining is you get an autographed picture of me. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No. The benefit of joining, that would be a depression for the, but the benefit of de-incentivize, whatever. The benefit of joining is that you get to vote and participate in business meetings and exciting, things like that. But we do have a lot of people that are part of our active fellowship, and we're grateful for them as well. So a little bit about our Sunday attendance numbers. We have, our average is 81, but I will be honest, there have been some Sundays that we weren't able to count. So this is the Sundays that we're able to count. Average in person, 81 throughout 2022, and 23 devices online. And so that doesn't mean 23 people. Sometimes it could be a husband and wife watching, could be an entire family watching. It could be just the YouTube's on and no one's watching, So I don't know. So that is always possible. So those are our attendance stats as best we can give them. We had 2 baptisms this past year and 2 baby dedications, which are always fun. So, and then things that we can celebrate, obviously, always we celebrate baptisms and things like that and baby dedications. We can also celebrate, and those are the tangibles. We can certainly celebrate, as was already mentioned, the pavilion. It's a huge accomplishment, one of the biggest milestones for our church campus in our history, and it's been a blessing. I have heard from members who said to me, I wasn't too crazy about the pavilion at first. I wasn't sure we needed it, but almost everyone has said, it's been a great thing. And it has been a blessing to our church. So, and then the surplus that we just talked about, the financial, God's blessed our church financially through your giving, and so I'm grateful to that. So a lot of good things. And there's intangibles, too, that I can't quantify in a report. But people's relationships being healed and people having spiritual growth and just being, just to take an example, when I see Alex, for example, interacting with our kids and just see them light up and start to come and get involved and stuff because of that, it's kind of an intangible, but it means a lot. It's what church is all about. And so there's a lot of that going on. Also, people within the church taking food to people in need and in grief, the food ministry that we have here and things like that. Lots of stuff that's hard to quantify, but we wouldn't be doing church God's way if we weren't doing that stuff. And so we have a lot to celebrate in our church, and I want to commend you and thank you for that. And so this coming year in 2023, we're going to be focused at the staff level and leadership level on spiritual growth, which is discipleship, and also volunteer and leadership development. And Alex is going to talk a little bit about that, but one of the things that we're really going to be working on is rolling out we started to roll out our OBC 101, 201, and COVID hit. It was very inconvenient, very frustrating. Then we had to video record those and everything. Well, we're going to roll them out, all 4 of them this year, and they're going to be in person. We will have the video option for those that absolutely cannot come, but we really want to encourage in person, because it's when we get to sit down with people and talk to people, interact with people in person. That's where really the life of the church is. So 101, 201, 301, 401, Alex came up with a great idea to kind of rebrand that. I'll let him share that with you because it was his idea. It's cool. We were doing baseball diamonds, and all that, but he came up with a cool thing. So that's coming this year, and we encourage you to support those classes, and we'll be rolling those out, and also emphasizing our Connect Group ministry a lot this year, and he'll be talking about that. So our Sunday gatherings, we have moved them to 10 a.m., and we're going to be pretty much keeping with that time for the foreseeable future. Seems like that's the popular time. And we are generally inside during the winter and late fall. I haven't heard anyone complain about that. It's kind of cold to be outside right now. And we're outside in the spring and the summer and the early fall. It's just great to be able to do this regularly with the pavilion out there, So now, if it is light rain, we can do it. If it's thunder and lightning, for safety reasons, we still need to be inside. Hope you understand that. Even though we have a pavilion, we don't want to put anyone's safety at risk. So we'll be inside if it's lightning and stuff. But those are generally the plans right now. Now, I will say that we do need more. We're always online again, thanks to our AV team. So those people who cannot come in person or are uncomfortable coming, we have the online options. So I'm excited about that. And I, again, thank all the volunteers. But we do need more volunteers for this, in particular to continue the outdoor services. It's more volunteer intensive to do the outdoor services, because you have to set up and tear down and in the AV and moving the equipment out there and everything. So we really need help. And there's been times where the AV team has had to do the moving the equipment out and setting the equipment up, plus setting up chairs and things like that. And it's just a lot. It can be exhausting. So we really need more people to help with we call them the chair team, but people just to set chairs up. Our tentative plan right now is just to leave those orange chairs that are in the back fellowship hall, just leave a bunch of them outside in the pavilion and put a tarp over them. If people steal them, I have no problem with that. Myself, you don't necessarily have to put that in the record, but in the notes. But I'd be okay. I would not shed any tears over that. Okay, let me be honest. Those ugly, orange, uncomfortable chairs were the original chairs of this church when it began over 45 years ago. We have pictures to prove it. So again, I admire our church's history and I celebrate it, but I don't need to sit on it. So if we end up losing those chairs, I am okay. So the plan is to tarp them outside. That way they'll make it easier. But we do need extra people to come Sunday mornings to help set those up. Our midweek gatherings, we are following the Acts 2:42 format. We're going to keep this going for the time being, and it just basically means we're emphasizing those 4 things in Acts 2:42, doctrine and fellowship, breaking of bread and prayer, and just really emphasizing those things, which is what the early church continued steadfast in, and we want to be steadfast in those things too. So that'll be the midweek gatherings for our 7 o'clock service that takes place either in here or out there, depending on the weather and stuff. So that's the church service situation, and then also I doubled my slides here. So again, I'm not hired for my PowerPoint abilities here. Okay, all right. So here's what we need moving into the year of need from you all. We need prayer. I don't know if you noticed, but I feel like in many ways our church is being tested. Some spiritual attacks going on, things like that, and so we need prayer. We need to pray for each other. We need to pray for the marriages in our church. We need to pray for the relationships between children and parents in our church. We need to pray for spiritual growth in all of our members, pray for our leaders, pray for our members, pray for everybody. We just need to take prayer very seriously. And I don't just say that to be trite. That's fundamentally what we need. If we don't have prayer, then we don't have gasoline to keep the church going. And we also need commitment and faithfulness. And again, as I look around, I am literally preaching to the choir on this. So don't take this as me chastising any of you. I look around, all of you are very faithful and very committed, so thank you. But I'm just putting it out there, to be honest, we need other members to be faithful and committed. I'm not trying to say anything bad about them, but we were running through the stats in a staff meeting recently and just kind of estimating, okay, we have an average of 80, we have 151 members on the records. An average of 80 members attend in person every Sunday. So that's almost half that don't attend regularly. And then of the 80 that attend Sunday, how many of those are actively volunteering and engaged? And then you can, if you can do the math in your head, you can start to see how some of our ministries are a little strained and short on volunteers, and how we don't want to burn out our volunteers. We don't want to burn you all out. Believe it or not, I said I care more about you as a person than I do about you as a volunteer. I care about your spiritual health. I care about your emotional health. I care about your health, physical health. I care about your marriage. I care about your relationships. I care about you personally. I don't want church to be the source of burning you out. So we need more volunteers, and that's something that we all need to pray for. And it's something that we can encourage. And say, how do we do that? Well, we can encourage members that aren't really plugged in to come to Ladies for Christ events, to come to men's breakfasts, to come to different events like that. That's how you build relationships. It's how you build fellowship. And then when they come to those things, then it's like, oh, okay, hey, how about you help us out with this event here and that? So that's how we activate people. And that's going to be really the life of the church that does it. One thing I do need, though, in patience and understanding here, there's been a few people that have expressed to Alex and me over the last 3 or 4 years that we do Sunday school, resume Sunday school, Sunday morning. I want to make this clear. Contrary to popular opinion, I am not anti-Sunday school. I don't know where that started. It was the church that decided to expand, the church as a whole, collectively, at a business meeting, voted unanimously to expand our Sunday school ministry to include home connect groups. And so that's been our focus. But in order for us to do home connect groups plus a robust age-based Sunday school class with kids and stuff is very volunteer intensive. So it's easy for us to say the senior adults could meet Sunday mornings, have their connect group meet Sunday mornings. I have no problem with that. That's great. That's wonderful. But to start to have kids' classes on Sunday morning and for us to make that safe and to still maintain nursery and children's church and Go Kids, that's very volunteer intensive. We don't have the volunteers for that right now. We don't have enough volunteers to do what we're trying to do right now. We don't have enough volunteers to really do a quality nursery like we want. We've got Yvonne in the nursery every week. Now, she loves it, and she does a fantastic job at it. But should a staff person be doing the nursery every single week? Should we have other volunteers helping out? You know, and we need to expand that nursery to get some of the older kids in there. And we want to do more with children's church and things like that. So this, and again, I'm not chastising you all, okay, because I know you all are committed. But this is where it's a need. This is a real need for our church. And so please join us in prayer on this and help get other people involved and stuff. And just be sensitive to that when you start making suggestions about new programs and new activities and new ministries we should do. It's like, I hear you. You know, we got to staff the ones that we have right now. Yes, Jane. Yeah. So don't necessarily have to take on running the whole thing for yourself. Absolutely. So we do need more volunteers, as I said, and we need the cooperation and coordination. So if you are a volunteer and a volunteer leader, because we have limited energy and resources, we just have to all be rowing in the same direction. So please don't be resentful or upset or annoyed if the staff asks you to go this direction and you don't want to, you know, or your annoying pastor comes along and said, "Can you please do this instead?" And you're like, "I have a vision," you know, and it's like, I get it, but but hear me on this: if every single church member just did your own thing, you know, whatever, and there's no coordination, it's chaos, and that's not efficient. So, you know, we just need to work together. So I would say to the leaders, that's why it's very important that you come to the coordinating council. That's what it's for. You know, so come to the coordinating council meetings in person if possible. And that way you know what's going on, you know what we're planning, you know what, but, you know, and we can all talk it through, you know. Because if you don't come to the coordinating council, then you come to me or Alex or Yvonne later, it's just really tough, you know. Because we don't want to be the bad guys. We're not trying to be the bad guys. We're just trying to make sure we're all rowing in the same direction. So that's our needs. That's what we need. Any questions on that? Well, Alex is going into more detail on the connect groups and stuff in just a minute. But any questions on anything I just covered? No. Yes, ma'am.
The coordinating council, do you announce that to the church members so that we know when you're meeting?
It is a secret meeting. You have to have a secret handshake. And then you're coded at the door. Right? I'm just kidding. No, normally it's not. But I mean, if you want to come to the coordinating council, just let Yvonne know, and we can include you on that. Yeah.
You're inviting us.
Yeah.
That helps us.
Well, I was saying mainly for the leaders, like of different ministries, they need to be there for sure. Yeah, because it's for the coordinating council per the bylaws. It's basically the staff, the officers, and the leaders of the different ministries and committees and stuff. They're the ones that we need there. But members, active members who are interested in getting more involved, if you want to come, you're more than welcome. And just let us know, and we'll invite you definitely. So they meet once a quarter. Well, the time shifts, so sometimes we don't know when it's going to be. It's not like ever moving meeting, but yeah, we'll just if you want to be on the notification list for that, let us know, and we'll make sure that you get notified. So that's for anybody. All right, and then I'm going to ask Alex to come up and continue this and give his report, and then after that, take more questions, and then we'll go into the trustee report.
Good evening, everybody. Well, I'll be something shorter than the pastor, for sure. And Shem, where's my clicker? I'm kidding. I just want to say thank you. It's been a great honor and pleasure to working with all of you. I didn't, a couple years ago, I didn't think that I was going to be standing up here and doing what I'm doing now. I mean, my idea of, career was something completely different, but God had other plans, so I'm here. And it's been of a blessing since day one. So, just to touch up on the things that happened throughout 2022. Let's see. Some of the highlights were crossings for last year. We had a good group of kids go for Central Kid as well for the camps. BVS was a great success. We had 25 kids, and we had a really strong volunteer group. Some of the other things that we did when I came in was we wanted to upgrade the classrooms for the children. We wanted to create a safe, clean, sanitary environment for them to receive them back for the Go Kids. So we thought of, we have a week before Go Kids starts. What the heck? Why not? Let's go for it. So we upgraded the classrooms, as you can see. Well, I don't know if you have time to go back there. Even seeing the nursery, we got some new furniture. We got rid of the old one that was chipping away and everything. We child-proofed everything, and trust me, it's been tested. It has been tested. We had kids trying to climb, kids running into things, and it has not budged. So I think we did a good job. The blue room was also upgraded with new furniture. Some of the old furniture that was there was taken away. New things got placed. The rooms got painted. Everything got sanitized. We looked and sorted through all the materials that was there, which we were using Awana since we were not using that anymore. We collected all that material and curriculums, and we did the same thing with the pre-K classrooms. We painted. We sorted all the toys. We sanitized everything. Thanks to all of our volunteers that came out and helped out. We did a lot, and we got all this material and was donated to Olney Baptist Church, and they were so happy to receive that. We gave them, T-shirts, new curriculums, unused materials. They were more than happy to receive all of that. So it was a blessing to them. And Go Kids, something that impacted me, and I said, hey, you know what? This is awesome. Was when I told there were kids here helping us out, and I had nothing to do for them. And I said, hey, why don't you guys write 1 or 2 notes for the kids that are going to come? No, they took it up on their hands to write a note for each one of the seats in there. We have the notes back there. One of these days, I'll bring them out on a PowerPoint or something. But these kids just wrote a welcome note to each one of these Go Kids students coming in, and it really, really, really touched me, and I just said, hey, I love working with these kids already. So it was a wonderful experience. We are, like the pastor said, working on rolling OBC 101 through 401. We are working on new materials, new curriculums. We are planning for 2003 to upgrade the youth room. We want to give that back to them, a place for them they can come and rest, do their homework if they have to, if they need to talk, so they can be open in it. We want to put some information walls out there with pamphlets. Yvonne and I are already working on informational pamphlets. I passed out some of those to some of the parents around the church. We are implementing new applications and ways to get in touch with the church, especially as a parent. We are going to be recruiting and training new volunteers. In fact, we have a thing plan. It's also on your book, but you'll see this page at the back. So save the date, and like the pastor said, each one of you here is we see you everywhere. We see you guys volunteering everywhere, and I am grateful for that. But we need more volunteers, and you can encourage others to attend to this volunteer fair. We're going to be having tables there with information and sign-up sheets, and explaining to them what each individual ministry does at the fair. We'll be able to answer any questions, and there will be training for new teachers. There will be training for guest services. There'll be training for pretty much anything that you don't know how to do, how to prepare a class. We're also thinking about revamping our library down the road, making resources there for teachers, for students, for parents. So just having this robust curriculums and stuff here at the church that you don't have to go anywhere. You can just come home here, get involved, and get what you need, and just serve your church in the best way possible. And we're here to try to help you reach that goal. We also are planning on doing the small groups, but before I get into that, the pastor said I was going to show this. I wasn't ready, otherwise I would have done a slideshow, but it was this. This is what the pastor's talking about. This is what we're going to be presenting during 101, 201. It's a seedling kind of thing. So you start on 101, you're a seed, you start growing, you start sprouting, you start learning about what the word is, what God's plans are, what pretty much like a plant. We all here love plants. I know I do. Sometimes I kill them, but I love them anyways. But you water a plant, starts growing, it grows into a mature plant, it gives fruit, it gives seed, and it's a cycle. And that's what we want to produce here at the church, a cycle where you learn how to grow spiritually, how to make disciples, how to make other people, into how to encourage them to volunteer and to serve your home, the church. So that's what the pastor was talking about. But we are trying to implement small groups, trying to get volunteers for that. We want to implement 3 branches on that, the connect groups. Under that, the small groups, we want to implement, interest groups. We want to implement discussion groups, which is you see a book that you like to study. We get a leader in there. They all read the book, come and comment about it. Or, if you want to sit down with Pastor Kurt and talk theological stuff with the pastor, or if you want to sit in and talk, media or something with the AV team, or discussion groups, interest groups. And we also want to do workshops where, I know a trade and you're interested in learning, or, there's a young guy who wants to learn how to do electricity. I'll be more than happy to teach him the basics, of course, with safety. Cooking classes, if you have a recipe, maybe, who knows, we'll do an OBC recipe book down the line. But that's the idea for 2003. We will be, like I said, training. We will be upgrading the library, so you have all those resources here at home. But we do want to encourage more people to volunteer. I have already, reached out to certain people that I've noticed that they have the energy, the potential to do so. I know I've reached out to Elaine here all the time. I'm always buying like, hey, you can lead a small group, you can do something, but we'll train you for it. If you're not sure, there is always something that you can do. We're all here a body of Christ, and we all have different functions. If you think you're not good at something, trust me, you are. I didn't know that I was going to be here, and I think that God is using me to do a good job. So I just want to encourage all of you to encourage others to volunteer. And like I said, and like the pastor said, we see you guys, we see the work that you're doing, we see the energy and the love that you have for OBC, but we want to spread that. We want to encourage others to volunteer, and I really, really, really want to encourage all of you to encourage others and yourself to come to this, to the ministry fair, so that you can get informed into other things that are going to be happening throughout the year, more information about the ministries and all the other stuff that are going to be, taking place here at OBC and how you can serve better. So that's pretty much everything I got for today. If you have any questions. No, thank you, guys.
All right, for the trustee report, Rob. And it's my clicker, the clicker's up here, yeah, so. All right, and. It's down, yeah. There you go.
All right. Well, I will tell you, I don't belong up here. Jim Fry does, and he has enormous shoes to fill. Like, I can't even come close to filling his shoes. So this was also made by Jim, so I'm just going to run through everything. I know I just said Jim a lot, but Jim is behind the scenes of everything. So if something gets fixed, if something's broken, and you saw it one week and it's not there the next week, it's because of Jim. So shout out to Jim, even though he's not here, and I hope he feels better. And I'm pushing down. All right, so lots of things happened at the church this past year. Obviously, everybody sees the pavilion outside. That is our biggest accomplishment this past year. After it was put up, electrical was added, ceiling fans, lights, picnic tables. Tons of volunteers came out and did a lot of that stuff. As Dee mentioned, we didn't pay the price tag that we thought we were paying because things were donated and stuff. So huge shout out to everybody that helped with that. Here's some awesome volunteers getting everything going together. And you guys all have seen, hopefully, the steps as it went. So other big things, again, behind the scenes, you probably didn't notice. Toilets needed to be repaired, bathroom faucets, kitchen faucets. Hallways were painted, classrooms were painted. Alex mentioned those. The sanctuary walls and the ceilings. I believe Jimmy Brignac did a bunch of the blinds and stuff. There are just so many little things that have made a huge difference to OBC this past year. Kitchen freezer also died on us. That was a big one. And the copier, the old copier, finally got out. We actually, I don't think it's in our slides, but there was just a huge dump that went. So we cleared out tons and tons of stuff that was just in the church for the past, 10 years. I mean, it's been a long time. So we had dividers that used to be back in the fellowship hall that were originally in the back here when we had, little classrooms back here, all sorts of stuff that has just been finally removed. And with that dump and the pavilion being done, I hope other people noticed that we don't see our trash cans anymore because Jim also organized that to be pushed down to the back end of the parking lot. And I think that makes a huge difference too. So last huge thing was the roof and the gutters and the downspouts, all that stuff was replaced this past year. It was all done free of charge to us because it was done through insurance and stuff. So yay, that was huge. We had a couple of patches in the past that were done on the roof. So now we don't have to worry about patches. Over the summer, also trimmed, removed a bunch of the dead trees in the back. There's probably every winter we get one or two more. So that was, I believe Marlon's crew headed that up and they did a wonderful job. And that's kind of leading into the next section, which is this year. And we're gonna hopefully do a lot more outside, and we'll get to that in a second. These lights are original, just like those orange chairs. We very carefully got rid of the orange chairs, and now we're gonna try and get rid of the lights to just brighten everything up. There's also the discussion of adding backgrounds to the stage so it can be changed easily. Removing the second entrance door And that's actually where our entrance is. You come through the door, and then you are met with a door. So it's that second door that actually is meant to keep air conditioning in. That's why it's there, but we prop it open. So it's just annoyance. So we're gonna try and open that whole area up and just make the entranceway a little more inviting, including just painting welcome murals and stuff like that. So, down. Outside, as I mentioned, a lot of cleanup went over this past summer. We're going to hopefully continue with that stuff outside, cleaning up some of the flower beds. As you first come in the door, things are overgrown and things have just not been kept up over the past few years. So that's our big task this year. Emily's garden, also last year, the main tree that was over there died. That was removed. And it was cleaned up, but we really want to spruce it up and make it obviously not an eyesore, but make it more than it has been the past few years, especially now that we're outside more, and it's the backdrop really for our services out there. So we're going to get it back to where it belongs. And I guess that was my last slide. So I pushed down one too many times. So, anybody have any questions that I can answer for anybody? Anybody have any concerns with what was done?
The new leaves on the copier was cut in half when we got rid of the old copier to the new. That was one of the reasons we did it.
And in fact, we actually had 2 copiers for a while because one never got picked up, so we got rid of that one too. Question?
I don't know if this is the appropriate time or if it needs to be business. I was curious about the light, the first light in the parking lot that's not lit, and it's very, very dark as you come in, which is, could be a problem for us, but also for welcoming people.
Yes. Yeah, so
On the agenda for
I'm not sure if Jim heard that at home, but the question was a new light for the coming in the parking lot. So I'm sure he'll text me in a moment. And yes, I'm sure it's probably on the agenda of things to get done, but it was not in those slides. So give me a minute and we'll get an answer for you. Yes?
Is there any chance that the parking spaces could be?
Yes. So we are hoping, along with the stuff that's getting done as far as planting and all that stuff, eventually the parking lot that is gravel, we're hoping to get redone. There is red tape with that, which is a big problem because it can't, we can only have so much of a footprint. And because of the pavilion and the footprint with that and stuff, so we're still working on that. But hopefully, once that's squared away and we know what we're doing with that, then we can also reline everything and give us back the loop to come in and around and stuff. So, and Jim says, wasn't planning on it, but we'll look into the lights. Lots of red tape with paving, correct on the water shedding issue. So I told you, he's watching well. So he may not have been aware of the light. So yeah, the very first one. Okay. We'll get that one done. So anybody else?
I confess, Alex and I were talking about that light the other day.
See, there you go.
We haven't gotten that request to Jim ourselves, so yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and sometimes those lights obviously burn out from Sunday to Sunday, and if you're not here in the right time, you miss it. So we'll get it done because it is a safety issue as well. So, what's that? That's right. Good?
Yeah.
All right. I'll pass
Thank
it back.
you.
Yep.
And Rob's very modest. I want to thank all of our trustees for their hard work and stuff. So, all right. At this time, we do have a report from Ronnie White. She's been heading up our wellness counseling ministry, so she's going to do that report via video. So,
Good evening, Olney Baptist Church family. My name is Ronnie White. I'm a member of Olney Baptist Church. I want to remind you of a ministry that I began directing back in 2017. It was called the Pastoral Care and Counseling Ministry. From this ministry, we brought you Bible study lessons and spiritual calisthenics. We brought you a Bible study series on common Christian sayings that commonly cause confusion. You might know of these. We brought you programming in Sinatra Ackerman that address parenting issues, adolescent issues, just wellness issues. We brought you a wellness checkup in the 8 domains of wellness. We've also done a series on forgiveness. We've done in-person and virtual. And we also offer counseling services for members that are struggling in various areas. Well, I want to let you know that in 2023, we are looking to continually expand. It's getting a new name and more services. That new name is going to be Christian Wellness Care and Counseling Ministry. So it's going to be the Christian Wellness Care and Counseling Ministry. And from here, we are going to continue with programming to help reach people virtually as well as in person. Those that would like to be a part as a lay person helping others, please contact me. Pastor will give you some information on reaching out so that we can get started and see where you can fit in this ministry. So in this ministry, like I said, there's going to be the direct services to those in need. There's going to be series that promote spiritual wellness and Christian wellness. So I look forward to hearing from you, and have a great business meeting.
All right, Ronnie was not able to make it tonight, so she sent that video in real quick, recorded it today. So if you have questions about that ministry, see her, talk to her about that. If you need her contact information, let me know. It is after 9 o'clock. I do not want to hold you all late, but if there's any other ministry leader that's pressing and needs to give a verbal report, let me know. Raise your hand. I do want to ask Maria real fast, because Only Days is coming up. And it's never too early to plan. So what's the date on Only Days? So, April 30th. So Maria's going to be organizing our participation in that parade. And so if you're willing to help with that, please contact Maria. All right. Sounds good. Is that ideas from kids of all ages, or just kids? You know, sorry. Okay. All right. Any other final announcements? Any announcements? Quick things? All right. All right. Yes, Jane. Yeah. All right. Any other announcements? All right. If there's a motion to adjourn the meeting. Motion made by Erica, second. Okay, seconded by Donna. All right. All in favor? All opposed? Meeting is adjourned. God bless. Drive safely. Have a good night. Thank you all for joining us online, too.